Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about evaporation and what is evaporation and what are the various factors we are going to discuss today. First of all, what is evaporation? We know that whenever a liquid changes into vapor, or the phenomena of change of liquid into vapor below its boiling point, it is called as what? Evaporation. And evaporation, even in boiling also, the liquid changes into vapor. But what is the difference between evaporation and boiling? Evaporation takes place below its boiling point. With the change of liquid into vapor below its boiling point, it is called as evaporation. And evaporation is dependent upon some factors. The first one, temperature. Second one, surface area. Third one, humidity. Fourth one, wind speed. And fifth, nature of liquid. And why this evaporation takes place? Evaporation takes place in liquid, and in liquid there are some kinetic energies present between the particles, and whenever the kinetic energy of the particles requires some energy in the form of heat, then it changes from liquid into vapor. This process is called as evaporation, and it is a surface phenomenon. And there is a lot of difference is there between evaporation and boiling. In evaporation, the liquid is going to turn into vapor below its boiling point, whereas in boiling, the liquid turn into vapor after reaching the boiling point. And this evaporation is a surface phenomenon, and the boiling is a body phenomenon. And this evaporation depends upon some factors. In that, the first one we are going to discuss about temperature. We already know what is temperature. Temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness, and whenever the temperature is increased, the rate of evaporation is very high. And in summer season, we are going to observe the water is going to escape from the earth because of temperature. And whenever there is a rise in temperature, the water takes some certain amount of energy in the form of latent heat of vaporization. You know already latent heat of vaporization. The energy required to convert from liquid to gas, and whenever they are going to absorb such heat, then they turn into gases. So whenever there is an increase in temperature, then the rate of evaporation is going to be very high. And next one is surface area. And why we are going to spread the wet cloths for dry? Whenever we are going to spread the wet cloths, then what we are going to increase the surface area. Whenever there is an increase in surface area, then the rate of evaporation is very high. And one more thing, we are going to drink easily tea with saucer rather than a cup. Why we should prefer saucer to drink hot tea or milk? Why? Because whenever we are going to increase the surface area, because of increasing the surface area, then the evaporation is going to be cooling effect, so that it is easy to drink. By increasing the surface area, the heat will be going to be lost in the form of vapor, and we are going to drink conveniently. So surface area plays a major role. And even in rainy seasons, the water which is spread on the roads is going to be evaporated easily. Why? Because of surface area. Surface area also plays a major role for the increase in the rate of evaporation. And third one is humidity. What is humidity? We already know whenever the water is evaporated from the surface of the earth, they are going to remain in the air as a moisture. So humidity is nothing but the amount of water vapor present in the air, we are going to call it as humidity. And this humidity is not going to remain constant. Sometimes the humidity level is going to decrease, sometimes the humidity level is going to be increased. And the humidity will be present in the air in the form of various factors. Even the water is evaporated from the plants through transpiration. Through the process of transpiration, the water is going to be evaporated from the plants, and even from the animals, the water is going to be evaporated and they are going to settle in the atmosphere. And this humidity plays a major role for the rate of evaporation. So whenever the humidity level is more, then the rate of evaporation is going to decrease. And we are going to observe the clouds dry very quickly on summer season. Why? Because in summer, in the atmosphere we are going to have dry air. Whenever there is a dry air, the humidity level is very less, so that the rate of evaporation is going to be very high. But whereas whenever the humidity is high, then the rate of evaporation is going to be very less. Why? Because in rainy season, water vapor is present in the air. Large amount of water vapor is going to be present. At that time, the rate of evaporation is going to become very less. So humidity also plays a major role in the rate of evaporation. And humidity level, as humidity is more, the rate of evaporation is going to be very less. As humidity is less, evaporation is more. And when we compare summer and rainy season, in summer clothes dry very quickly. Why? Because humidity is very less. In rainy season, the clothes won't dry quickly. Why? Because there is a lot of humidity. Because of the humidity, the rate of evaporation is going to be decreased. And the fourth one, wind speed. And wind speed plays a major role, and wind speed is going to decrease the humidity level. When the wind is going to move, it is going to decrease the moisture or the humidity in the atmosphere. And at that time, then the evaporation is going to be. Whenever the water percentage, the water vapor is decreased by the wind speed, then the evaporation is going to be increased. And the fifth one, nature of the liquids. Different liquids have different nature. When we compare the water and the petrol, the water is going to take some time to evaporate, whereas petrol takes very less time to evaporate. That is depend upon the nature of liquid. We are also going to call it as volatile. The liquids which evaporate very fastly, when they are going to react with air, such type of liquids are called as volatile. So there are 5 factors on which the rate of evaporation depends. The first one is temperature. As temperature increases, rate of evaporation is also increases. Second, surface area. As surface area increases, evaporation also increases. Humidity. And as humidity is more, rate of evaporation will be less. As humidity is less, rate of evaporation is more. And the next one is wind speed. And this wind speed is going to decrease the level of the water vapor in the atmosphere by moving, and whenever there is a decrease in the water vapor, then the evaporation is going to take place. And the fifth one we are going to call it as nature of liquid. And nature of liquids in that volatile we are going to consider. And volatile is nothing but liquids which will evaporate fastly. And it depends upon the nature of liquids. When we compare the water and the petrol, petrol will evaporate very fastly because it has a volatile nature and is going to evaporate fastly. And this evaporation is also caused as cooling effect. And whenever this evaporation is taking place, it is going to cool the bodies. In the first one, we are going to discuss about acetone. And this acetone is used to act as a nail polish remover. And whenever we put on our palm, and whenever this acetone is going to be turned from liquid to gas, it cools the body. Why? Because the formula of acetone is actually CH3 taken twice CO. It belongs to organic compound, and we are going to call it as a propanol. And whenever this acetone or even spirit, when we are going to keep it on the back of our palm, and whenever we just expose, and this is going to absorb the heat which is present in our body. Remember, for evaporation, latent heat plays a latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat of vaporization plays a major role. And whenever this acetone is going to absorb the heat which is present in our body, and then it is going to escape into the air, and whenever it is going to escape into the air, it cools the body. And acetone, spirit, so many liquids which we kept at the back of our palm, whenever they are going to turn from liquid to gaseous state by absorbing heat which is present in our body, then it is going to cool the body. And the second one, water in earthen pot cool in summer. In summer season, we are going to observe the water which is present in the pot is remain cool for so much time. Why? Because in pot is made up of small tiny holes called as pores. The pot consists of small tiny holes called as pores. The water which is present in the pot, this water is going to be penetrated, or they are going to move through that small holes to outside. Whenever they are going to escape from that hose, they are going to take the heat which is present in the water. And whenever the heat is going to remove from the water, then the water in the pot is going to remain cool. In summer season, we are going to observe this because the water in the pot is remain cool for so much time. Why? Because this water is escaped through the small tiny holes, and whenever they are going to move the small tiny holes, then they are going to remove the latent heat of vaporization. The heat which is present in the water is going to be removed, and the water in the pot is going to remain cool. And the third one is perspiration, or also called as sweating. And in summer season we are going to get sweat, because whenever we do work, definitely there is some heat is going to develop in our body, and whenever there is a heat is developed, then the sweat is going to come out, and the sweat glands are going to secrete the sweat, and the sweat, whenever it is going to be exposed to air, this sweat will absorb the latent heat from our body, and it is going to turn from liquid to gas or vapor. At that time it is going to remain cool. So sweating mechanism also is going to cool the body, so that the temperature of the system falls. And fourth one, why should we wear cotton cloth in summer? In summer season we have so many type of cloth, but we specially prefer cotton cloths. What is the specialty of cotton cloths? Cotton cloths are the good absorbers of sweat, and they are also going to have some small tiny holes, and these cotton cloths are the good absorbers, and they are going to absorb the sweat which is secreted, and whenever the sweat which is presented on the cloths is going to expose it to air, and at the time the evaporation will take place, and it is going to make cooling effect. And next one, desert coolers. Desert coolers also mostly they are going to be worked on only on dry air, and dry air, whenever there is a less humidity, then the coolers are going to work. At that time evaporation will take place, it makes cooling effect. Whenever there is no dry air, there is a lot of wet air, desert coolers won't work properly, and at that time evaporation is going to be very less. So these are the cooling effects, and also we are going to have so many cooling effects will be taking place, and the factors are the 5 factors: temperature, surface area, humidity, wind speed, and inch of liquid, and these all are the cooling effects. So listen carefully, watch the video carefully, and complete the worksheets which will be given. Thank you. Sir? Sure, sir. To show that presence of water vapor in air, you already know that humidity is present in air. Then how we can identify, how we can show? For that, daily we are going to take the substances from the refrigerator. For example, if we take a glass of steel glass or glass, and when we pour cold substances, and if we keep it outside for some time, then we are going to observe some water droplets outside the glass. Why we are going to observe these water droplets outside the glass? That is because of the condensation. And we know that when we pour the cold substances inside the glass, the total body is going to achieve the lowest temperature. And outside we have gases, and we have water vapor which is going to have greater kinetic energy. And when this water vapor is going to strike the glass, it is going to lose somewhat the kinetic energy. That loose kinetic energy is going to be settled as water droplets. By this we can know that there is a presence of water vapor in air. And remember carefully, the gases which is present outside the glass has greater kinetic energy, and when this gas is going to strike the glass, then the kinetic energy of the gas is going to be reduced because of the lowest temperature achieved by this, and the lost kinetic energy is going to be settled as water droplets. By this we can observe that there is a water vapor present in air. And we have discussed there are only 3 states of matter commonly we have: solid, liquid, and gases. But we have 2 more states of matter which will be discussed, and the fourth one is plasma, and the fifth one is DEC. And this is the 4th state of matter, and it is occurred naturally in stars and sun. And inside stars and why they are going to be glow, they are going to emit tremendous amount of energy because of they have the plasma inside them. And how we can observe how this plasma is formed inside the stars? In stars and sun, the atoms are going to break down, and whenever these atoms are going to break down, then the electrons which are present in the atoms comes outside, and these electrons is going to feed on the other atoms and convert them into ions. Then the combination of electron and ions is going to be called as plasma. Plasma is present in stars, and lightning also is an example of plasma. And we can prepare the plasma on the earth in fluorescent bulbs. Whenever we pass the electricity inside a gas which have very low pressure, and it will be taken in a tube called as discharge tube. And if we pass electricity inside a gas in a discharge tube at low pressure, then we are going to observe the plasma state. And remember, in here we have fluorescent bulbs which have a plasma, and also neon bulbs. Neon bulbs also inside we are going to have gas called as neon. Whenever we pass the electricity inside a neon gas, then we are going to observe. So plasma is naturally in stars, sun, lightning. On earth it is present in the bulbs, fluorescent bulbs and neon bulbs. Whereas fifth state we call it as BEC. BEC stands for Bose-Einstein condensate. And why it is called as Bose-Einstein condensate? In 1920, Satyendra Bose is an Indian scientist who did some calculations for the fifth state of matter. Then that calculations was carried out by Albert Einstein. He predicted there is a fifth state of matter on the basis of Satyendra Bose calculation. Then that's why it is called name as Bose-Einstein condensate. Then after, there are three American scientists who took that project, and that Eric Cornell and Carl Wieman. These are the two scientists. On June 1995, they find out the fifth state of matter by taking rubidium. Rubidium is 87, and whenever these vapors are cooled, remember plasma is obtained only on high temperatures, and BEC is observed on low temperatures. Whenever this rubidium is cooled at lowest temperature, then they are going to observe the fifth state, that is BEC. Then after, Caldwell obtained BEC from another vapor called as sodium 23. These three find out the BEC by obtaining one. Two of them find out by taking rubidium 87, and the Caldwell observed the BEC from sodium 23. When these vapors cool, then they are going to observe the fifth state, that is called as BEC. There is a difference between these two. Plasma is occurred only at high temperatures, whereas BEC is observed only at low temperatures by cooling the vapors at lowest temperature, the air. Then they are going to observe these two states. And we have so many states which are coming, but they are theoretically but practically they are not true, so that we have 5 states of matter. Thank you.